I'm vice chair of my family's business, which is Gojo Industries. We're headquartered in Akron, Ohio, and we are inventors of Purell hand sanitizer, which some of you may use hopefully on a regular basis to stay healthy. And our business over the past number of years has really gone through a lot of growth and really a lot of professionalization, even though we've been around for 60-some years. In the beginning, we were sort of like a lot of Jewish startups and Jewish nonprofits where we just we're focused on the customer, focused on the market, not really worried about how do we do our work, not really worried about our culture as an organization, not really worried about the processes or the tools that we use or the way that we think and sort of create a strategic vision. I think it was sort of innate and built in, but we didn't necessarily know how to bottle it, how to make it repeatable. So over the last number of years, and I've been really involved with this, so it's clearly influenced the way that I approach my Jewish engagements. I've focused on, and the company has focused on, how do we create a shared vision? How do we then create a cohesive strategy, sort of enterprise or core strategy? How do we then develop the processes, the systems, the tools, the mechanisms for aligning all the different folks that we have who are out there playing their own discrete role? My father and I and others in leadership don't talk to every one of our employees every single day. In fact, probably not even every single year because we're in various parts of the world. So how do we create systems that allow us to communicate to them and them to back to us so that we have this sort of evergreen system of new ideas and new ways to go out and be successful? So when I look at the Jewish community, I see that there is a lot of opportunity to not just get excited about ideas. I actually disagree with Gary that there is a dearth of ideas. I actually think that just like, what is it, 2 Jews in a room, 3 opinions, I think it's the same thing with ideas. I think there's so many of us out there who have great ideas, and I'm eager to hear everyone's. And I also, of course, have my content-specific ideas, but I didn't feel that this platform that Mark has given us was meant for me to tell you what my personal pet projects or my personal pet favorite ideas were. I thought it was more important to talk about how do we channel the resources that we do have. I do agree with Gary that there's a ton of money out there and that we do make a lot of investment as a community. I mean, of course, we can always make more, but I don't think that the problem is a lack of money or a lack of ideas. I think it's really comes down to a lack of execution in a lot of cases. Not to say that there aren't some really shining examples, and not to say that there aren't plenty of decently functioning organizations. But I would say there are sort of 2 opportunities. One is just to increase the return on investment that our community is making, not just in financial, but in the human capital that we pour into it. How many hours do each of us put in every week to the Jewish community? And do we always feel like we're getting that return on that investment? Did we get the most out of that? Did the organization benefit? Did the people that work in collegial relationships with did they get the most out of what we were bringing to the table? So I think that's the one side. The other side is, and I really agree with Mark about this idea of the Jewish community or the Jewish experience reaching its potential. How many of us, because we're driven by a vision and a passion and a love for Judaism and the Jewish community, do we sort of turn a blind eye to stuff that really is kind of yucky about doing work in the Jewish community? Some of the dysfunctions on boards, dysfunctions in staff relationships, staff board relationships, not necessarily doing our work as well as we can. Many of us, especially those of us in this room, I imagine, so keep doing it anyways. We keep saying, well, tomorrow will be better. It'll eventually get better. However, we do know, and I have a ton of friends out there in the world who just sort of opt out. They say, you know what, this Jewish community, it's not for me. I can find better, more comfortable, more just wonderful ways to spend my time in communities to be with. So I think that this, my focus would be, and you can read more about it in the write-up, but my focus would really be on taking some of the practices. It's not a one-to-one correlation, but there's probably an 80-20 rule. Some of the practices that companies like mine have been perfecting over the years to really develop the systems, the processes, the tools, the norms, just the ways of working, and elevating them to a much higher level so that the Jewish community can be a place that is that feels really good when you're doing your work, when you're investing yourself in it, but also just truly dramatically increases the return on investment for whatever program you're interested in.